So we're getting a lot of energy going and a lot of warmth by just taking this movement and making this friction, right? Let's see if we can do that a little bit faster. And then take your hands apart and just place them really close to one another and feel that heat coming from one hand to the other. And see about how far you can slowly move your hands apart as you continue to feel that life force, that prana, that chi, that energy. And you kind of play with it a little bit. But this is the energy that we can use if you have a place on your body that is, in fact, let's do that. If you find a place right now that's just feeling a little tense, a little sore, place one of your hands there. If you have another one, place your hand there. And let's just sit tall here and breathe. Breathe our energy now into our hands along with that heat that we've begun. We've struck the match. And finding just breath, also breath energy and breath healing. Moving into those spaces. My upper left shoulder is a little bit catchy, and my lower spine as well. And then I'm just going to be quiet here as we breathe. One more big breath here. On the exhale, releasing your hands away from wherever they were. And let's just shake out. Shake our hands. And what does that do? That's bringing up the blood down into the fingertips, right? When we're cold or when we're under a lot of stress, our blood stays in our major organs. And so it goes away from the tips of our toes, which just reminded me I still have my slippers on. The tips of our toes, it goes away from the tips of our fingers, the tips of our nose, all of our extremities. And here we're just letting that blood come and circulate on down. And the movement that we do in our yoga practice is going to assist that as well. And so we know we can move blood a lot easier than we can lymph fluid. Let's go ahead and just start to move our hands up and then let the wrists just kind of go up and down, right, as we're at our shoulder height. And but the lymph fluid takes a lot more action than just the blood flow. Blood is doing that, obviously, with the heart and our breath. But the lymph, we really need to move the body to get that going. And by doing that, your arms should be getting a little tired by now, by the way. Mine are. By doing our yoga practice, we're getting into that lymph fluid that's going to help to detox us a bit now. All right, now let's start to take some circles with our wrists. Circling, keeping the shoulders and the arms coming out of the shoulders. So still at that height. And yes, you should maybe be feeling that in your arms. So we don't have to lift really heavy weights all the time to get some strength into our being. We just have to defy gravity. Okay, let's go around the other way. And so we're warming up the chest right now as well with our arms out like this. We're warming up our wrists. Now I'm going to take fists and I'm going to bend elbows. I'm going to take, like I've got some streamers or something in my hands, right? And I'm going to make these big circles that also come into my shoulders, okay? Into the front of my chest and moving that lymph tissue in my armpit area. I want to reverse. One way is going to maybe seem a little bit easier than the other. I feel my torso rocking a little bit with this. The more I do that, oomph I put in it, the more I feel it in my chest as well. And let's go ahead and release those hands on down. There should be some more warmth flowing in to the joints of our hands and arms. But let's go ahead and make some fists here again. And let's just keep our hands down, big fists, and a nice big inhale. On our exhale, we're going to breathe out our mouth and go and release the fingers out, okay? So let's go ahead and take big in-breaths. Hold at the top of your in-breath, wherever that is, and then release out of your mouth. You guys keep going. Do that at your own breath pace, okay? Because some of us, our inhales are going to last shorter or longer than others. Really tight fist, and then you hold and hold and hold and hold up to your hold, and then you exhale it out. Let those fingers open wide and that energy come forward. Let's do a few more of those. Again, your own pace, okay? Have that exhale be as elongated as you can as well. And as much squeezing as you know how to do. And then let's go ahead and take our hands upward here, bend into the elbows, take your hands onto your shoulders. And now let's just take these tighter circles here, where we're going to feel that more into our shoulders, especially in the back. How close can you get your elbows when you come forward? How far back can you pull them when you come back? Okay. And again, just to what your body says feels good for you. As I'm sitting up, am I pulling in on my navel to keep my lumbar spine from concaving too much? Okay. You may feel this in your arms tomorrow. Let's go ahead and reverse. Bringing those elbows together, lifting up high, pulling them back. And that exhale can come out of your mouth or out of your nose. 2 more. And let's release, hands down. And just sit, pulling in at the navel, sitting up straight and tall, finding our feet nicely placed. We didn't take a time at the beginning to really just check into the lower part of our bodies. So let's just do that now. And just taking a few breaths, holding in here at the belly, maintaining a nice open heart, shoulders slightly pulling back and down. And that helps to pull away from my tight trapezius muscles up there. And we're going to work on that neck somewhat in a little different way than we've done before. Let's lift that right arm up at an angle. Okay, coming out, fingers coming out. And I'm going to take, and I want to look up at that hand. Notice how your chin drifted up there. Okay. And then I'm going to take my chin and I'm going to drift it at a diagonal down towards my left shoulder. At the same time, I release that arm down to my side. Okay. And then as I'm lifting it up, my chin is going to come back in that diagonal line. A lot of times we're shifting straight up. Here we're going to take that chin, the neck, and just take it into diagonal. From looking down at shoulder to looking up at that hand. Take it slow. And again, if you want to hang out in that interim between in-breath and out-breath, you can hold your breath at one point, which would hold your chin in a non-moving position. Really reaching through your hand and let the other hand kind of pull down as well. Let's do one more of those coordinated movements, moving hand up as the chin rises and the gaze looks. And hand comes down, chin comes and diagonally comes back down there. And then I'm going to take my body into a nice straight place. And before I move to the other side, just going to take some big circles. Let's take about 6 to 8 going forward. And 6 to 8 going back. Yeah, I'm not counting, so you guys can count or just do what feels right. Right? I'm not a numbers person. Makes me nervous. Every time I have to count or remember numbers or money type stuff. And I'm going to exhale, hand down. And now my left is going to shift up to first my shoulder and then take it on up into a V and let my chin come over in that direction. So that means my head, my neck turn in that direction as well. And then I'm going to, like an angle with that chin, take it down and look towards my right shoulder as my left hand comes down. And lifting up as I do, my chin takes that circuit as well. And my in-breath too. My exhale takes me down. Hang out anywhere that feels good for you. But don't hang out in your bellies. Okay, pull them in. Be constricted and contracted there. Let's do another one, please. Really reaching and really looking downward. Taking my gaze forward, my body straight up. Let's take 6 to 8 nice big openings here. Working with that shoulder, really feeling that. And when I go up, feel that lengthening there. Reversing whenever you're ready. There we go. And let's just take hands on top of thighs and knees and take little twists from just waist up. Okay, not going all the way back. Just working into this oblique area with my hands touching my thighs, running down my knees, down into the top part of my shin bone. Maybe finding there's a little more opening. Right? Can my shoulder come forward a little bit more? Can it pull back a little bit more? Only as your body opens up to it in a natural way. A few more, please. Not you guys, but I'm finally getting warm here. Here we go. And so now we're sitting nice and straight and tall. We're going to release our hands down. Right one stays on that front leg. The left one lifts up. At the same time, I'm going to lift my left foot and raise it up. Hold on here. And let's take some ankle rotations. You are utilizing your core strength here. I'm holding on here though, okay? Trying to keep my back straight. Fingers lift up, lengthening side body, lots going on. I'm going to take my toes in the other direction now. You can hear my snap, crackle, pop. And place my foot down. Lengthen up that side body. And then come over, holding tight in through here, bringing myself over, really lengthening, pressing down into my sits bones, pulling back my upper shoulder so that it is nicely aligned with my lower shoulder. Keeping both feet planted, both sits bones planted. Feeling good length there. Feeling an opening in the ribs. Big inhale. Big exhale. Next inhale, pull in at your navel. Bring yourself up. Inhale. And exhale. Hand floats on down. Nice and gentle there. And just feeling the difference between one side and the other. And we're going to go ahead now and lift up that right arm. The right arm extends up high. And we're going to hold on to the left chair leg. And do we have this? We had that one up the last time, didn't we? So let's raise the right one up, I think, right? So that I guess we were doing same-sidedness. And let's take some ankle rotations. If you want to go into the wrist again, you can as well. And feeling that, at least I am, in my quadricep and in my core. Really lengthen up, because sitting like this, we're going to want to go like this. So let's keep upright and reversing that ankle rotation. Keep lifting fingers higher. Keep sitting straight on your sits bones. And let that foot come down. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, let's slide on over here. Keeping knees forward, shoulder pulling back and on top of the other one. Gaze can either be just neutral right here in the center. You can look down to the leg of the chair and my hand up to my hand, rising upwards. Really feeling myself opening through my heart here. Feeling breath. Big inhale, big exhale. Pull in at the navel, bring yourself up, inhale. And exhale, take that arm on down, slowly coming down. And we did the one arm swings around. Now we're going to do like we're swimming. I know Chris is a swimmer out there. I don't know how many of the rest of you are, but let's go ahead and let's take some strokes. Okay. And if you're swimming with your face down in the water, there's times when you take a breath. So look like this, and we take and we look to the left. And we swim, a couple more strokes, and then we take inhale over to the left. 2 more times, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. And we turned over to the left, so let's turn over to the right. And it's going to be harder for me. And inhale, as I'm left-handed. Exhale. And inhale. Turning over to the right. Feel that twist in your body and the difference that we have to use for our neck as well. One more time. Good. And then sitting up straight and tall here. Woo, cooling off. Let's take a couple breaths before we go into the next movement here. Because your hearts might be beating a little bit faster as we have our hands over our head, and that entails a little more work in our circulatory system. Let's do backstroke now, okay? So I'm going to take one arm back and then the other arm back. And I'm going to let my body kind of rock with that, okay? Like I'm floating on that water. I love backstroke, because I can still breathe, looking up, totally supported. It's kind of like laying down in Shavasana. That would be more like floating. Feeling this in your opening of your chest muscles, in your shoulder. And one more set. And let's sit upright. Good. All right, it's time to start working on the lower part of our body. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've gained a little bit of flexibility and more up in my upper body. And we have done ankles. We haven't worked on the knees yet. So let's go ahead and let the right foot stay grounded. Lift up the left foot. Take yourself out a bit here. And let's just point the toe and take some circles here. So what we're doing is into the knee. We're not into the hip too much yet. We're going to get there. Okay, but obviously just to do this, it's going to take some hip rotation as well. And I'm going to go in the opposite way. And toes can be pointed or flexed, or you can just let them be floppy feet, however you like to do that. Or you can point when you come down, flex when you come up. And let's take that foot down. Take my sock off. And let's go to the other side now. And left foot's going to stay planted, right comes out a bit. Just lift that up. And just doing that, feel the engagement that needs to happen here so that I'm not letting myself go all the way back. And I'm going to just take some circles with mostly the knee on down. Okay, but again, it's hard to do that and not have any movement up here. And we'll get there. Definitely need some hip warming up as well. And again, foot flexed or pointed, choose what you like. And let's go in the opposite way. Or going from pointing to flexing. And you should be feeling this also in your thigh. Okay. And let that knee come down. Let's hold on to the sides of the chair. Let's lean back just a little bit. And some of you may want to take your shoulders all the way back into the chair, okay? That is much better than having any lower back pain. So again, this is going to depend on how strong we are in our core. So leaning back as much or little as you need. Take both feet off the ground. Okay, and again, might be all the way back in that chair. All right, it's kind of looking like, you know, when we had to go into those stirrups in our gynecological years. So sitting up again, either all the way back or at an angle. And let's go ahead, bring those legs in and take them out. In and out. In and take them out. Into this neutral placement of hips and into this externally rotated place of our hips with our breath. With our core. 2 more. And place your feet down. Lift yourself back up. And hopefully you felt a little bit of that engagement in the core. And sorry, but this sweatshirt that I really needed at the beginning of class, I don't need any more. It's lost my earring. All right, so now let's begin to just take our feet up and down from the ground. And warming up the base of our feet. Coming into just mostly the balls of the feet here. And I know when I'm doing this, just feeling the muscles of the calves. Not too ignited, a little bit of kind of bouncing there. Let's see if I can do that a little bit faster. And slowing it down. Let's go ahead and open up And let's begin some bigger rotations into our hip. So we should be really close to the edge of our chair, but not falling off, all right? In fact, hold on if you'd like, have a little bit more support. And I'm gonna lift my left foot off the ground. And I'm gonna take some circles all the way into the hip now. Before, we were keeping it more like this. Here, I want them to be bigger circles where you can feel that in your hip joint. So I'm externally rotating, internally rotating, externally, internally, okay? In those big circles. And I'm gonna reverse. You guys are probably thinking, I hope Julie isn't cold at the beginning of class ever again. Because we're getting a little bit of a extra energized workout today. And placing that foot down. So what is the difference between a workout and yoga? And let's go ahead and do the other side. So lifting up and going around. So yoga is when we take our breath and we focus on our breath with our movements, okay? Yoga can be a workout. Yoga can be a place where you just come to find your mind. Yoga can be a place, go ahead around, that you come to find your heart, to find quiet. But it becomes a workout when we build in those fitness components. And I believe that yoga has almost all those fitness components. Not as much cardio, but today we're getting a little bit of cardio, right? But it does have all those other strength building. We're doing that. Balancing, and I know we don't do as much of that seated in the chair. Today we're going to do a little bit with chair support. It has your muscular endurance and the flexibility. So it builds in a lot of the components of fitness, right? It's just in a different way and through some traditional asanas. So let's go ahead and have our knees open and hips open and knees on top of ankles, feet coming out at an angle, pulling in at the navel point. We're going to lift our arms up, inhale. Exhale, hands come down into Anjali Mudra here. And we're going to take and tilt our body so that our right elbow comes close to, if not in contact with our right thigh and or knee. And again, stacking shoulders one on top of the other. Hands at heart center, pulling in at the navel, lifting up, inhale. And exhale over to the other side, okay? Trying to control that so I don't just drop haphazardly, right? I want to control that in through my core center, keeping my feet firmly planted, all four corners really engaged, pull in at the navel, lift myself up, inhale. And exhale over. Let's take it into a flow. Today's meditation said, let love flow. And we can think about that when we're doing our flows in our yoga. So what's a flow in yoga? That's when we move with the breath. So I'm exhaling down. My inhale pulls me up. My exhale takes me down. Vinyasa flows. Also, we move with our breath. It's called dynamic movement. Rather than static when we hold, right? Inhale here. Exhale down. Next, inhale, lift up. Exhale down and stay. This is where you can stay with hands really pressing against one another if you like for more isometric yan kind of strengthening, or you can just be light here and let your side body open as the other one contracts. The other place you can take yourself if you want is to release one hand up and one hand down. and just fly your arms open. You may or may not want to do that. It will take you into a little deeper twist, a little more engagement needed in the core to stay safe. Fingers can expand open here, or if you're in Anjali Mudra with hands at your heart, press your hands together and you're going to feel a lot of energy there. Okay, just as when we did our frictional movement of our hands. I'm going to place my hands back in Anjali Mudra here. I want to lengthen. So I feel the crown pulling out. Denise did a beautiful thing on the chakras today. So everything we're doing right now, go ahead and lift yourself up, is going to ignite those chakra areas and at the same time balance them out. I'm going to come on over here, my elbow to my thigh, press my hands together, staying here. And again, in a yin manner, we're just relaxing everything. Or more of a yang, where I'm pushing my hands together, really maintaining security and strength and direction with my head. Or I can really open up here, expressing my heart forward, pulling my upper arm back, reaching my fingers down. Here's a really good place for a block. If you have one, you can press right down there, or you can just let your hand open up and taking your head and gazing anywhere you like. You might feel like I want to just move it down and up, kind of like we did earlier in that diagonal fashion. Might want to just stay looking down. Might want to look towards me. Might want to look up. It's really good to kind of change that around. Pull in at your navel. Take your hands back to center. This is going to help us when we rise back up. Pull in at the navel. Bring yourself back up. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down. Maintaining this nice openness here. We're going to come in and out of Goddess. Any or all are welcome to do it seated or standing. Okay, inhale here. We're going to change up arms though a lot. So inhale here. Exhale into a regular Goddess with this trident mudra, aka cactus arms. Fingers out. Check this out. Elbows at about your shoulder height. And you guys have that Zoom capability to look at yourself and see. All right. And then we're going to take ourselves and inhale up. Lengthening the side body, pushing down into my feet and out with my knees. Okay, don't let them cave in if you can. Bring yourself back down. And check it out. Looking from side to side also just gives us a little bit of extra neck mobility. Fingers really extending, push down into your feet. Feel that strengthening up into your thighs. Inhale, lift. This time, exhaling, hands come into Anjali Mudra here. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, my left hand comes forward, my right comes back. And if you're doing this out of the chair, you're going to do the same thing, but with your arms here, doing something a little different in this Goddess squat. Hands come centered, bring them in and up. Push down with your feet and reach forward with one hand as the other hand reaches back. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, hands come down. Pulling at your navel. Again, if you're seated or standing, we're going to go ahead and just let our torso come forward about a quarter of the way. We're not into half lift, half lift, nor are we in all the way into forward fold. Keeping your feet nicely planted. Go ahead and lower yourself just a little bit more if you feel you have the core strength and to engage in your total spine here. Pushing down into my feet, really feel supported here. Maybe I'm able to lengthen out and down a little bit more. Only feeling like I'm totally in control of this. And pushing through my feet as I lift up, inhale. Hands rise up all the way. Exhale, right under left. Coming into eagle arms here, lifting up high. Exhale, taking myself into halfway down, halfway up,
And my head comes and chin to chest. Bowing eagle. Rise up, inhale. Exhale, looking, shifting my torso over to my right side and bowing eagle here. Bowing down towards my right thigh, elbows into my right hip perhaps. Head drops down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, taking it back to center. Making sure I don't fall off that chair. And bring myself forward again into bowing eagle. If you want, you can extend your thumb and maybe it lands right square into your third eye. This place of intuition, this beautiful space that we talked about today in meditation. Rising up, inhale. And exhale, taking your body over to the left and bowing down. Hold into your core. Maybe your elbow comes in contact with your thigh or your knee. You could bow down here, squeezing those shoulders forward. Pulling up on an inhale. Straightening yourself out. Remember, it was our right under our left. And now we're going to release. Arms come up. Fingers extend upward. And now left under right. Let's go in to eagle again. And find where your cross happens. Find where your height happens. Pull in at your navel. Come forward with a flat spine to begin with. And then when and if you feel like releasing, you can curl and tuck and round into yourself, pulling your elbows in towards your belly button, letting your shoulders pull down away from your ears. Really releasing here. Hold in tight. Take my spine back to straight and lift myself up. Inhale. Exhale, turning over towards my right thigh, right leg, and begin that downward motion. Maybe just hanging out at about a quarter of the way down, not taking it any farther than that, or going to where you say that it's okay for you to do that. Okay, and that may be your elbow or part of your arm onto your thigh, really pulling in at the navel point, really letting the head hang. Pulling up here, inhale. And taking yourself back to center. And let's take that flat spine, come forward again. Again, maybe you find a thumb at your third eye. You're giving some support there as well. Letting your elbows pull in towards your waist there, belly button area. Shoulders pull down. Lift up with a strong core. And exhale over towards your left leg now. And go ahead and release on down to wherever feels right for you. Keeping the back straight or going and letting it go. And resting here with a breath or two. Inhaling, lifting up with strong, strong middle. Bringing ourselves back. And exhale, releasing arms and let them go. And let's fly. And as I lift up, I'm coming onto the balls of my feet. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, comes down. I want you to see about the balls of your feet here, because we are going to stand up and just practice a little bit of balance with the chair, okay? So this strengthening onto the balls of our feet, if I said this in our class Tuesday or yesterday's class, you can sit, not sit, but stand doing dishes at the counter, brushing your teeth, and you've got that support to rise up and down on the balls of your feet. And in doing that, you're going to strengthen your legs and work on your balance as well. Okay, one more time up. And exhale, hands come down. Let's take a stand for a few minutes if you're comfortable with that. We're not going to do anything crazy, but just go ahead and stand up. And as I stand up, I've got this wide leg position here. I'm going to take my toes forward right now. I really want to feel balanced. So if my toes coming forward make me feel a little bit off balance, then you can turn the toes out a bit and the heels in. I want you to find what that is for you. And let's just lift our arms into that same shape of our legs. All right, so we're in this kind of X position here. X position. And from here, let's go ahead and just bend a little bit into the knees, not much, okay, especially if your toes are forward. And take your hands down to your shoulder height. And we're just going to pulse here, right? Pulsing just gently into the knees here. Keeping the arms extended out, strengthening our legs. And then releasing, hands down, legs long. I'm going to come into meet the back of my chair. So I'm going to take mine to the side. You guys decide where you want yours to be. And when we're using that chair, again, it's a letting that weight come down, not back, okay? And if you have, I don't today with me, a mat or carpet or something, so your chair is starting to slide away. That's also a good thing. So all we're going to do here is what I was saying that you guys can start doing at home. And that's just lifting up onto the balls of my feet and bringing myself down slowly. This is called rising mountain pose. Up and down. Feel that in your calves. Feel that in your ankles. This is really good to strengthen our gait, right? To strengthen, the movement of the feet in that forward motion. Take it as high or low as you want. Going low takes a lot of out of you just to stay low. And you can try your balance if you want with just heels barely off the ground. Or you can come way up onto the shelf of the ball of your foot and see where you're at. You can take one foot off, one heel off the ground, place it down, and then press weight in there and take weight into the shelf ball of the foot on the other side. I want you guys to just practice a variety of these things. Practice with maybe taking one arm and releasing it as you rise up. Stretching those fingers out. Finding that strength in the back side of your calf. Don't want you to cramp up. If you get into cramps in any of this, then check into your potassium diet, okay? And a lot of times it's just add a banana to my diet. All right, let's do two more here. However you're finding yourself coming up and down into rising mountain. Keep your hands there. And let's just take and move those hips a little bit as if we were doing a little bit of cumbia or salsa, merengue, cha-cha, right? And just get into the hips a bit here. Good. And then all I'd like you to do from here, as I said, a good back stretch. Okay, so walk yourself back and have your hands again pressing downward. I'm going to come up a little bit and have your ears come by your biceps. Let your tailbone release back. Let the back of your legs really open. If you need to bend into those knees, please do. And it feels good also to go from bent knees into lengthening the knees, lengthening the legs, straightening the knees. You can do that too. Trying to keep your cervical spine in alignment with the rest of your spine, pulling in at your navel point, okay? We're not in a forward fold completely. Our head's not lower than our heart, but we are in a half lift of sorts, which is a half forward fold. I'm gonna do two more of these, kind of bending into my knees and then lengthening up. Good. Then I'm gonna walk myself back to that chair. I'm going to face you and have my one hand on the chair. I'm going to go do tree pose here, and the chair is there with me for tree pose. Okay, don't need to move it. We're going to do tree pose in a little different manner. If you were here yesterday, we did this in our mat class yesterday. We're going to pull both legs together. Okay, so generally when we talk about mountain, we're hips distance, right? Because that's the most supportive way of grounding ourselves. But look what happens if I shift and I bring my legs together, right? As women, especially, we have this broader hip area. So as soon as I do that, I get a little woozy, I get a little bit off balance. So just doing this, pressing into the ground, having a chair next to me is going to help with balance. And you would think not, because you're on both feet. But again, because we're squeezing together here, it does kind of have us doing a little shifting, all right? So now what I'm gonna do only is keeping the leg by the chair, nice and firm and solidly grounded. I'm going to come onto the shelf or the ball of the other foot. Knee is gonna stay forward. I'm gonna really push down into this leg and push down into the shelf of my bent knee foot. Okay, knee is forward, and that's generally not what we do in a tree pose. We're going to open it up here in a moment, but just sit, just be in this and feel what that is like to have one knee bent forward and the other really solidly placed. And then if you'd like, you're going to open up that knee, place your foot right next to the ball of the bent knee foot, right up against the straight legs foot, okay? And I'm here, and I'm lifting up all the way through here, right? Making my body a tight body. There's a saying, tight body, how is it? A tight body is a light body. So that means if I tighten up my muscles and really push down and ground, I'm going to feel lighter in that balancing, taking my leg out. Maybe one hand comes here to my heart center, okay? And those of you that have had more experience or feel comfortable in your balancing, you can take another hand here, only if that feels really comfortable to you. And I do have both feet grounded right now. All right, trees can come from here to moving that foot anywhere on the inside of your standing leg, except for your knee. It may come up to here. It may be holding your leg up. There's all places to go, but you're doing tree right now. All right, and then let's exhale, hands down. Bring that knee forward. Bring those legs back together, and just do a couple little knee bends here. Or walking it out and taking that into your hip as well. And let's switch sides. You guys can just turn around and listen to me, or you can move your chair opposite way. So now my right leg, and that might be different than yours, is next to the back of my chair, and I'm going to support all my weight there. I'm going to bring the other leg in, glue it to my right leg and left leg glued together. Feet are glued together. And again, this just takes me a little bit off balance because my hips are out here and my body wants to be evenly placed, and they really want those feet out, at the hips distance. But I'm squeezing together now. So find strength in both legs, right? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then go ahead and keep that squeeze going in one leg and bend into the other knee and place the ball of your foot, the shelf of that foot that's bent in that knee side, and the knees forward. Okay, I'm really going to settle down in there, push down there, push in here. That makes me lengthen about another inch up higher. Holding on here, pressing down, not inward. Okay. And then taking, when I'm ready, knee outward and maybe that foot in so that it's attaching to the side of my standing foot, staying on maybe one toe or on the shelf of the whole ball of your foot. Knee stays out, hips are forward, shoulders are forward. Hand can come into half Anjali Mudra if you like, or your hand can be here. And any of you that are sitting in chairs, you can do your tree pose seated. You're still going to get that openness in your hip, in your knee. You can find the length in your spine. It just doesn't really help with the balance, but again, do some things on the back of the chair or in your countertops and really start to work on your balance so that, go ahead and take your hands down, knee comes in, foot comes down, and walk it out. So that people can't say when we get older, we lose our balance. That's not true. We just have to keep moving, okay? Face the chair and take your feet apart just a bit. And now let's rise up high on the balls of your feet. Come down, take a little squat. Doesn't have to be very big. Rise up high. Take your heels down. Do a little squat. And just repeat that a few more times. And when you're rising up, have everything nice and solid. And you can exchange maybe one hand can lift as you come onto the balls of your feet. And we'll place our hands down, heel toe, our feet in, bring our chair back, and let's come back into seated. Some of you are still standing with me there. And find that chair. And let's find that leg crossed before we end class. Here, let's take one foot in, cross the other one over. That's not available to you, slide that foot on down, okay? But I just want you to bring your legs together a bit, trying to take one hip and internally rotate it a bit, because we don't get a chance to do that very often. And just sitting up straight and tall, like you're having a little conversation with your comadres, right? And we're just sitting and chatting away here. And then after about 15 minutes, we think, I've been sitting like this for a long time, and this is what I usually do. This is one of the habits I have that my body has me do. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch that out. One foot down, the other over, or I'm down here crossing, okay? I'm sitting like a lady, they say. I don't know about that. Don't say that I said that. And sitting up straight and tall. What I say and think about when I do this is my hips internally rotating. Okay, that's what happens when you become ensconced in yoga. You start to reconsider the way you move through life and what you do. So here I am sitting, core connected, nice straight spine, shoulders down, nicely relaxed. And now I'm going to release my foot down. And I'm going to go back into the back of my chair. Let myself come back. Let myself be completely connected to the back of the chair. And if you have those blocks to put underneath your feet, or you can take your heels up and the balls of the feet down, heels on the legs of your chair. I kind of like that because it opens up my ankle. And I'm going to let my knees cave in if they want, or I'll let them fly out, but I'm just going to let them be loose. For so much today, we've been keeping them in alignment, or we've been opening them up, okay, or we've been taking them into that internal rotation. Let them do what they want to do here. And organically, what they want to do is come in towards one another. And my shoulders, I can feel those really supported on the back of the chair. That's the first time today that we've really let that happen, unless during some of that core work, you supported yourself there. And then that's beautiful and good because you use the chair as the tool that we need, okay? I'm really pulling away and trying to put the word out that things like blocks and straps and chairs are not props. All right, prop sounds like a crutch. All right, to me, they're tools. They're tools to allow us to do something more than maybe we were able to do before, or with more strength and endurance. For instance, carpenters, people in the trades, when they take their toolbox, they don't call it their prop box, right? It's their tools, and sometimes they're power tools, all right? So what are our power tools besides our body and our breath? Then utilize those in the best way. So right now, sitting in the chair, yes, my back is up against it, but can I still maintain core strength? Yes. Pull in here. Press, it depends on your chair's anatomy, press my lower spine in towards the back of the chair, and I can feel that connection. And so that means I'm still using this. And you can let that go if you want, or you can be mindful of it. It really just depends on where you want to be right now. I'm going to let my head just hang. Exhale down. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, let it release. Inhale it. And exhale, let it come down. Find myself in stillness. Thinking back through the class and something new that maybe we did differently today. Maybe you'll take with you into your practice, into your days, natural movements. You don't have to have a chair to do what we did today. You don't have to have a yoga mat to say that you're doing yoga. We carry yoga in our lives. In the way we move, in the way we groove, the way we breathe. Taking your hands to your heart or into Anjali Mudra again. Finding that connectivity between mind and body through our breath. Being grateful for that connectivity that we're all able to share here. And so from my grateful heart, flowing with love outward to you all and inward to myself, I honor us all. Namaste. Thank